everyone, thank you very much for joining me once again. Today we'll be looking at part 2 of customers, and we'll be looking at creation of customers, how you can use the different methods to create customers, how you can apply customers, and how you can implement them. Alright, so our learning objective today is gonna be looking at how you can actually create customers using the two methods I mentioned before, which is route creation wizard and new route page to create a role. And also we'll be creating customers using sample test cases, and also we'll be applying those customers and testing them out on our database DBMS in our test lab. Alright, so these are the use cases that I'll be using. There are 6 use cases that I'll be using to implement customers. And one of the reasons why it's good we use this approach is that it helps you understand properly how you can actually create customers, how you can use identifiers and operators, how you can use both of them to create customers, also good objects to create customers. Alright, so I got these use cases from one of my subscribers. His name is Richard from Ghana. He was watching my videos and reached out to me saying that hey dude, can you help me with some of these use cases, can you help me create customers, to address some of these use cases. And with this concept, I told them I was going to create them, but I'm also going to create some videos, so that some of my viewers and subscribers globally could also benefit from these use cases. Alright, so I also want to use this opportunity to say a big thank you to everyone that's been watching my videos, providing comments. Thank you so much. They're really encouraging and it helps me to create more videos. Alright, so looking at the the use cases properly, looking at the command section, I also want to reiterate that custom modes, when you're creating a custom mode follows an if then action approach, which means that if certain actions are met or triggered, then perform certain actions. And that's the syntax of how you create the custom modes in McAfee DAM. Alright, and if you look at the command has a couple of identifiers and operators. Now if you look at the two types of operators there's the logical operators that has the and, the not and the or, and also the comparison operators, things around contains, or things around the contains, and another of those operators that I have there. So one thing you also need to pay attention is that you need to understand what each of those identifiers are used for. So McAfee DAM already has some embedded identifiers in the application, alright, that you can actually use to create customers. So the application speaks to applications you want to use. The network speaks to the more of like the fully qualified domain name of a particular host. Things around command type means the type of actions or type of command you want to use, or that is contained in a particular SQL statement that will be applied on the database in your environment. So these are a couple of identifiers but I just wanted to give a little bit of background overview so that by the time we get into the lab proper, you can actually understand the concept behind it. So if you look at it, application contains allowed application. So that allowed application there is a variable, and that is being created using the root object. Like I said in my previous video, there are three types of identifiers. There is a string type of identifier, there is a numeric type of identifier, and there's an enumerated type of identifier. So that type of identifier is more like a variable. You have a variable that has been defined and you're calling that variable. Alright, so that's exactly what those allowed application kind of identifier means. And that identifier, they're more created using root object. So in the root object, you name the root object and you impute the variables you want to have or the values you want to use in that root object, and automatically when you're trying to create your customers, it calls that particular variable, and you can actually use it instead of writing that command again. You can just call it and use it in your root creation when you're creating your rules. So that's the same approach that all the 6 use cases follows in creating the custom rules. Alright, so this is my lab environment. I have a database that has a sensor installed on it. It's a database an MSS SQL Server 2016, which is being managed by the McAfee DAM itself. So that's how my lab looks like. They're connected to the domain, and the domain is testlab.local, and that's what I was addressing. I was referring to the testlab.local in the previous slide. Alright, so in the lab itself, what we're going to achieve, we'll be spending a lot of time in the rule tab. That rule tab has everything you need to know, or you need to use when it comes to creating the custom rule. And also we'll be creating the rules using the rule creation wizard, and also the new rule page using our test cases. Also we'll be applying the custom rules on the DBMS and also testing those rules. So alright, with all of this overview that has been provided, now let's move into our labs. Alright, so welcome to the lab. Alright, so well, like I said, what we'll be doing is we'll be creating a custom rules. I'm going to take you through how you can create custom rules, the methods by which you can use to create custom rules. So this is my McAfee DAM server, and this is my client machine. This is the client machine I'll use to access the database. So let me close this. Okay, so back to my server. So I'm just going to log in now, and I'm going to take you through how we can create custom rules and how we can apply them, and we're going to test them as well. Alright, so this is my page. I've already done a couple of I've done a couple of videos on how you can understand some of these tabs, but let me just dive straight into the rules section, the rules tab. 1 second. Okay, so these are the rule tab. This is the viewport rules, the custom rules, this is the application mapping and things like that. Alright, but let's focus on custom rules. So this is where you create custom rules. I've created a couple of custom rules, and there are two ways you can create custom rules. We can either use the create new custom rule wizard, or you use the create new rule button here to create a custom rule. Okay, so the thing about it is that if you're using a create custom rule wizard, it allows you to go through the step of creating a custom rule step by step. So you're going to name the custom rules. So let me call this let's say testing, for example, testing 111, sorry, 111, for example. Then we click next. Right, the next thing is, this is where we create the rule itself. So like I said, if you're creating rules, we work with objects. So the different objects here, like action, application, bind variable, client, and all that. So these are all the objects we're going to be working with. So you can't create your own objects. These are only the objects you have in McAfee DAM that you have to work with. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is, it depends on the scenario you're trying to create. So what I want to create is things that has to do with access. I want to create a rule that will trigger an alert if there's an access on our database. So we're going to use that as a use case, for example. Alright, so I'm going to use user. That's the object we're going to use, user. So if the user contains a string, which is test lab, which is my domain, testlab.local, yep, then we use the logical operator, and IP is another object, equals to 10.0.0.70, and application equals to, so let me use this allowed application. I'm gonna go into how we got into this allowed application, and OS user, that's the operating system user, equals to Shewelt, because it's a string, so we have to use a sphere. Yeah, I think this should be it. So this is what we call an alert. So I'm trying to create an alert rule. So there are two types of rules. Also, you can create an alert rule or you can create an allow rule. Now the difference between both of them is an alert rule creates alert on the dashboard, while an allow rule allows a SQL statement to be allowed to run on a database. Okay, so I could click next here. And so this is where, because we're creating an alert rule, so I could send alert. What type of severity do I want to send? So let me do high, for example. Where do I want the alert to be displayed? On my McAfee database security task console dashboard. These are other areas or other ways the alert could be displayed. So we could log it to a file, you could archive it. So it all depends on what exactly you want. But most of the time, you just make use of this McAfee security console. And if you have a syslog, you can also do a syslog or event logs. So this is some of the options we could choose. But I think with this, I think it only allows us to use the McAfee database security console. Alright, so if it was an allow rule, if you click, you can have an alert and allow rule. You have to choose one. Alright, so if you choose an alert rule, it means that if specific statements are in the critical query, then you can actually it will allow that statement to run on a particular database depending on where you apply the policy. So because we're creating an alert statement, an alert rule, so we use send alert high, and we mark it to a McAfee database. Alright, so next thing, we need to install it on the database we want to manage. So this is the only database I have in my lab, and I click select. And so tags are basically for, if you have tags for specific databases, more like containers, you can put it here. And also you can also edit based on roles as well, but I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to go on to next. Then the next thing is to add a comment to the rule in case so another administrator can actually understand what the rule is all about. So we can say alert for access rule, for access to the DBMS. Yep. Okay, next we do next. And so here you can actually enable or disable the rule. So we're going to enable the rule and we click finish and we're done. So the rule is going to be at the bottom. So if I click on last, I'm going to have my rule here. So it's already enabled here. So I can take it to the top. I just click here and then move it to the top. Alright, so this is 11th and go to first. And let me come down here. Yeah, move it up. I can move it up here. Okay, so the way the rule works is it starts from top to the bottom. So it's going to start with the first rule. If the statement corresponds with the rule, it will trigger an action. If not, it moves to the next rule. So it keeps moving like that. So what you can do is, if you know that a particular rule, but for testing purpose, I'm going to disable this rule so that we can see the alert referring to this particular rule. But most of the time, most of these rules are enabled in the production environment. So any rule that a SQL statement matches, then an alert will be created based on your rule action. Okay, so the second one that I spoke about is, so let me just save this. So that is saved, and the second one is create new rule. So the create rule just brings you to this page straight, and then you can type the rules. It's the same format. You know, there's just two different ways you could do it. But for beginners, they will prefer to use the new rule creation wizard. But for more, as you go in creating your rules and all that, then you would be able to just type in the rules you want to type in, and you're good to go. Okay, so I said I wanted to speak about a rule I created the other time. So here are rule objects. So rule object allows you, they're more like variables that you can refer to, or objects that you can call when you're creating your custom rules. So I created one called allowed applications, so you can actually edit. So in these allowed applications, what this is the application that we're going to use to access the database. So if you want to monitor or allow only specific applications, so for Oracle, I think we use Toad, Oracle. So for Microsoft, to use Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio to access your database. So that's what I was referring to the other time. Otherwise, if I wasn't using this rule object, I could have just used application. Let me go back to the custom rules and just edit it and show you what I was supposed to write. So for this application, I could have just come here and type the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio straight, and just type Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. Yeah, and we're good to go. So the same rule also applies. So what I have there previously and what I have here now is the same. It's just that instead of you typing this particular variable, you can, instead of typing this particular strings or this argument to this particular object, you could just create a variable and just add it. So in case you want to add multiple arguments to an object, you could just create them, have them in one place, and you call them in the rule you're trying to create. So that's pretty much it. Let me just take this off and go back to my allowed applications. Yep, so I think we're good to go. Alright, so let's just test this. Let's test the rule we just created. So I'll log on to my client's PC. So the IP address on this client's PC itself is, one second, trying to put in my password. Alright, so let's just quickly check let me check my password, my IP address, just to confirm. CMD, just do IP config, just to confirm. So this is the IP address I'm using two interfaces. So this is the IP address 10.0.0.70. Okay, so let's test. So let me launch my Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio and trying to access the database and see if we're going to receive an alert based on that role. So I'm using Windows authentication. So my username is Sheiwelt, and my domain name, fully qualified domain name, is TestLab. So I do connect, and let me just run one or two actions. For example, let's say I'm trying to create a new database. So let me call it test 111 underscore DB and try to save. Okay, so this action was disabled because we don't have, was denied. If you look at the create database permission, denied in database master, and the reason being that I can't create it because I didn't allow users to be able to create databases or perform any meaningful action on the database. So the only rules I created was just for alert. So what we want to do now is to check if I have if my alert was successful. So I go back to my rules and I go back to my alert here and check if we have anything. Sometimes it takes a couple of minutes for it to respond, but these are my previous these are the previous rules I've created. Let me see, what's the time? Okay, there's none that's closer here. Let's go back to first And now let me try it again. Let me see if I have anything. It might just take a few seconds before. Okay, so let me test again. Let's see. Let me disconnect. Close this and try again. Let's see if that works. Okay, so let me try to connect and let's see if it works. Okay, so let's go back. See, no alert yet. Yeah, still no alert. We'll just give it a couple of minutes. Let's see. Let me refresh. Okay, so another way you could test this is to go to application mapping and let's see if there's a connectivity there. So you see there's a connection here. There was a connection here at this point. Yeah, so okay, so let's see. Okay, so another thing I could also do is to use these parameters also create a rule. So this is a allow rule and this is an allow rule and this is an alert rule. So I could use this to create an alert rule. You see that this gives more information as regards to the rule base we're trying to create. So let me just try this and just call it alert to access, and let me save it. Yeah, all the same parameters are clear. Let me just save and let's see if this works. Let me go back to the last one and take it to the top. Okay, so let me just change this. This was a low. Let me put it on this for high for this. Okay, let me put it a low. I think it's not a big deal. Notice and save. Then I can take it to the top. Previous. Let's see. Yeah. 1 second. Lost. So I didn't take this top. So let me take it here. Previous and here. Yeah, so I can take it to the top here. And let me just disable this and let's save and try again. Okay, so let me refresh this. Disconnect, connect database engine, connect again, and let me just try to perform an action. Create new database. The test Q1. Let me change the owner. Check names. Okay, and click OK. Oh, sorry. Should have just done that. Let's test just for demo purpose. See, check names, and okay and okay. Yeah, because it's not allowed, so definitely this won't work. Okay, and let's cancel. Now let's go back. Let's see, why is this not generating as much a lot as expected? Okay. Rules. Let me edit this. Let me take this out. Let me take this module out and let me see if this works. It's okay, 2 hands. Yeah, and let's try again. Let's see if this works. Okay, save. Yeah, let's try again. Just connect, disconnect, and let's see if it works. Let's hold on why this works. Okay, we're in, and let me test my rules to see if we have a lot. Okay, so all of our lots just start coming in. Yeah, this is what we had for the last 10 minutes. So let's check the first one. Came in around 1945, and this is the rule itself. Okay, so it was referring to this alert rule. Yeah, and that's it. So that's pretty much the concept. Sometimes it takes a few delay before it captures a lot, but it still works. So this is just to show you how it works. In this video we've looked at how you can actually create a rule, the two ways you can create a rule using the rule create wizard, and also the rule create new rule, and also how you can, the concept behind how you can create your rule, the difference between allowed rules and allow rules, and how you can actually apply those rules to a database, and how you can view those alerts, things like that. All right, thank you very much.